Hey guys, welcome to your push-up progression tutorial. Today we're going to talk key tips for form, and then we're going to work from our most beginner variation of a push-up into something more advanced. So today, if you're just brand new to a push-up, I'm going to get you started safely. And then if you're more advanced and you want to know how to up the ante, I'm also going to offer those options. We're going to start just like this, standing up, so I can show you quality form for a push-up from every angle, okay? So I want you to imagine that you are the ground and I'm the person doing a push-up. So you're gonna take your hands so that they're just about in line with your armpit. And then you're gonna spread your fingers really wide. So imagine this is the floor that I'm facing. There's really no way for me to show you this unless I had a glass floor and a camera below this. So this is the best way to do it. So number one thing, we're gonna start with the hands. A lot of times I see people's hands that are kind of like closed or bent a little bit. So I want you to spread the fingers really wide and push the whole hand down like you're actively trying to make a hand print. This is gonna offer you a lot more surface area on the floor, so you have more strength and power to push off of. It's also gonna be a lot better for your wrists, because if your fingers are really light, it's gonna push the weight here into the heel of the hand, rather than spread it out into the rest of the finger. So form tip number one, proper hand placement. Then from there, we're gonna talk about those elbows. So I straighten my arms. If you're a hyperextender, I want you to be careful of this, popping your elbow, right? If you do that, I want you to be a little bit slower as you push back up and stop with a micro bend. Think more of squeezing your muscles and your triceps than pushing through the joint of your elbow. So we've got the hands, we've got the elbows. Next up, these are super important to keep your shoulders safe. We need to do two actions in the shoulders. One, they need to stay down off of your neck. So you need to drop your shoulders down, but this needs to be active. So you're using your back. I know this is crazy because it's a chest workout, right? You think with push-ups. It is, but your back's very involved here. So I want you to think of the muscle right here. Use that and pull your shoulder down. Squeeze your back muscles down. So as you can see, say we're all the way up in the plank before we do the push-up. We're going to push our shoulders down using our back muscles, and when you're down at the bottom of your push-up, this hasn't happened. Yeah, you wanna make sure you're able to keep that strength in the shoulder before you progress. Okay, one more thing about those shoulders. So we want them down, and we also do not want them forward. So we want to draw the shoulders to the spine. So say we're all the way up in our plank, whether you're in the beginner or advanced version, doesn't matter. You're in your version of the plank. You're like this. You want to pull your shoulder blades together so this rounded part of your shoulder does not look like this. So pull those shoulder blades together, and then let's try the push-up. So you're bending your elbows, making sure when you're at the bottom of the push-up, this doesn't happen. The chest closing off. Right? We don't have to round the shoulders to contract the chest muscles. Okay, so when you're at the bottom of the push-up, make sure you can keep those shoulder blades towards the spine and down off that neck. It takes an incredible amount of back strength to do that. So that's why I want you to start with the beginner variation so you can learn this form and then slowly progress with all these tips. I want you to look at one more thing. So the floor is now here because I'm sideways to you. I am the person doing push-up. So we've got the hands. We're careful on locking out the elbows. The shoulders are down, the back muscles are together. Here we go. We're going down into a push-up. This is something I see a lot. What happened to the neck, right? We led with the face instead of the chest. So I want you to think the back of the head should stay over the tailbone the whole time. So as we move down into the push-up, the whole chest and head are going to move in one piece. Like this, rather than we're starting to go to the push-up and we dip the chin to the floor. Okay, another thing I see is like looking forward too much. Like you're looking at the wall in front of you instead of the floor. Okay, are you ready for a review? And then we are going to hit our variations. I'm gonna review from the back so we can change up the angle. So now, the floor is the other way. You're looking above me. You're standing up looking above me. We've got our hands, the fingers are open and pushing the floor away. Our shoulders are dropping down and drawing together. This is super active, isometrically. My head is back over my tailbone. So as I bend the elbows, I'm gonna lower my chest and face down. Right here at the bottom, make sure the shoulders haven't lifted and come forward. We're at the bottom of the push-up. Shoulders down and together. Then push up. So let's try it one more time. Just do it with me. You don't need to be in an actual push-up. Hands spread wide. Bend the elbows to a 45-degree angle so they're slightly below and behind the shoulder. We're going down. Now check the form at the bottom of the push-up. Use those upper back muscles. Then push the floor away. I'm breaking a sweat. My shoulders are getting warm. This is actually a good warm-up before you get into the actual push-up. The other thing I want to say is warm your wrists up. Do some wrist rolls. Do some clench, open. If you do this for a minute, it's going to really warm the fingers, the palm, the wrists up. So you do want to make sure your shoulders, your wrists, your elbows, everything's a little bit warm in that upper body as we get into these variations. Okay, you guys, you've got my form tips, and we're going to integrate that into our beginner push-ups through advanced. Let's get to it. Beginner variation number 1 is going to be using a wall, or you could potentially use a countertop, something that's pretty high. So we're gonna use the wall today. We've got our form tips, right? So we're really set up in what this should look like when facing the wall. Hands are spread, elbows are a little bit below the shoulders, and you're gonna step those toes back so that you're on a slight angle. We're on a diagonal. So we're holding a plank here. Your hands should be just below the line of the shoulder. So something we haven't touched on yet is your core. Now that you are in a plank position, you want to suck your abs in. If that's foreign to you, think of what it feels like when you cough or you sneeze. That should be the sensation in the abs, this kind of bracing sensation in the belly. You want to keep that as we do the push-ups. So as you take an inhale, we're going to take it down towards the wall. This is where I want you to pause and check your form. Palms into the wall, elbows are bent, shoulders are down and drawing towards the spine. And the face isn't hanging, it's pulled back in space, and then we'll press up. So you're going to inhale towards the wall, brace the abs, exhale, press away. Okay, let's try 3 more and think form over doing a bunch of reps. So if you can only do 1, that's totally okay. And last 2. And a last 1. Good, walk it in. Okay, so if that was super challenging, you can bring the feet a little bit closer. Maybe you're not all the way back on the toes. So that would be your even further modification if you're finding that to be a struggle. So that is variation number 1. Our next up, we're going to grab a chair or something that's lower than the wall. It could be a bench that's sturdy, a couch, a countertop that's lower than where we were just at. So as we get lower to the ground, more weight goes into the upper body of your body weight. So it makes it harder for the arms. So that's what's happening. So finding our plank on a chair. So I'm gonna have my hands on the chair, fingers are spread nice and wide. We're gonna step back, find the high plank. Before you start to move, check. Head back, shoulders down and together. We got a little bend in those elbows, and we're bracing the stomach, so pull your abs in. As you take an inhale, you're gonna bend your elbows out to that 45-degree angle, and when you're at the bottom, we want you to see if you can hold that form in your chest. Exhale, press up. This is not easy. This is definitely a lot harder, yeah? Okay, inhale, we lower down, face away from the chair, shoulder blades on the back. Exhale, press up. Okay, let's go for 2 more. We're going down nice and slow. We're pressing up nice and slow. Good, let's do 1 more. Okay, find the plank. So especially as we get more advanced, what I want you to make sure does not happen in that lower back is it hangs. This is not gonna feel good maybe now or tomorrow on your lower back. So if anything, your tush should be a little lifted. But ideally, your tush is just neutral in line with your chest. So I want you to make sure as you go down into your push-up, your legs are working. So that would not be working, right? Your knees are bent, your hips are hanging. Strong legs, keep the hips up. Okay, a little bit lower body, right? As we're moving for these variations, when we started with the tips, we talked more about the arms. So starting to integrate core and legs even more as we get lower to the floor because they're gonna start working more and more and more. Okay, so that was variation 2. We're now gonna bring it all the way down to the mat. So bringing it to the mat, I'm gonna show you 2 more options that are more modified. Then we're going up on the toes. So say you don't love the option of the wall or the chair, these next 2 would also suffice for that beginner variation. First, tabletop, all 4s. You're bringing those hands right underneath the shoulders. So I want you to spread the palm, push the ground away, retract the shoulders and pull them together. Abs are in. So you're gonna bend your elbows and lower your upper body down, and then you're gonna press back up. You're gonna inhale, lower, and exhale, lift. Because of this option, your hips are not going to go down with you. They're going to stay slightly lifted. So this is keeping more of your body weight in your knees, so it's not as intense for the arms. Just make sure you keep the form, and this is an awesome option if you're here to build up strength and confidence in your push-ups. Good, okay, so that would be an option if the wall push-up or the chair push-up wasn't your thing. So the next place we're gonna take this is a modified plank. So we've got our hands a little bit wider than shoulder distance. Now the knees are going to walk back. My upper body is staying in the same place, shoulders right over the wrists. Knees are back, the feet are lifted. One thing that I kind of have a pet peeve about here is crossing the ankles. So because I'm a Pilates instructor, I would say that's not like the best option for your pelvis. I would say stay neutral, feet hips distance parallel. So we are in a modified plank. As you can feel, there's a lot more weight in your arms and it should be starting to work your core. So remember that tip of not hanging down. Scoop your abs under and keep your hips lifted. Let's try this one. So we're going down into the push-up. See if you can find the form here. Shoulder blades are together. Your face is not hanging. Pull the back of the head towards the tailbone, and then we're pressing up. Okay, inhale to lower. Exhale to lift. Good, let's do 3 more, or you can watch me do 3 more if you're getting the form down. Good, and then last one. Awesome, and walk it in. Okay, you guys, so we've got 4 variations down, we've got 2 to go. So we're coming into our full push-up on the toes. This is probably the one, I use the modified one and this one the most in my training. The last one's gonna be a very advanced one if you're looking for a little spice. Okay, so full toes is essentially to start a high plank. So let's find our high plank. I like to take my hands a little bit wider than shoulder distance. We've got that spreading of the palm and we're rooting the entire hand down. Step it back, find your high plank. This is where your abs and your legs become really important. So I want you to make sure you don't feel like your knees are just kind of hanging out and there's like no energy here. Lift your stomach, engage your quads, and let's try a push-up here. We're gonna go down on our inhale, and then on our exhale, we're pressing back up. And as you move through this or watch me, check our form. So we're trying to not lead with the face. We're pulling that away from the mat. We are trying to not let the shoulders go up to the neck. Ooh, that doesn't even feel good. And we're trying to not let the front of the shoulder round onto the chest. Okay, so those were some of our form tips. Let's do a couple nice ones. So slow and steady wins the race. Breathe in and out. Okay, and when I'm at the bottom of the push-up, I'm gonna use my abs and my legs a lot to lift me back up. Let's go for one more. Good, and step it down. Okay, so one other thing or idea you could use for the neck alignment is imagine you're holding like a tennis ball between your chin and your chest. So one thing that can happen, which I've been talking about a lot, is the face falling. So the head's back, right? We've talked about that. But also I see people looking forward. So if you had a tennis ball, you would lose it. So you want to keep the tennis ball in place as you go down and up, rather than looking out in front of you. So that's going to pinch the back of the neck a little bit. And so the neck doesn't love that. Okay, guys, are you ready for the advanced one? Are we all going to be really sore tomorrow from this? Probably. So the chair is coming back into play, but instead of it being for our hands, which offer us a little assistance, it's going to be our feet. So this is pushing more and more and more weight up into our upper body. You don't have a chair, you could use a stable couch, bench, be a little creative. Awesome park workout option. So decline push-ups. The first thing you've got to do when you get in it is set good form. So don't rush into the push-up. Let's get into it, set the form, then we'll move. So the chair, the bench is behind you. You're gonna tuck your toes on it and find a high plank. Set your hands right under your shoulders. Lengthen your chest forward. Send your tailbone back, brace those abs. Everything we've talked about, we need to keep that because this is our most advanced one. So when you're at the bottom range of that push-up, make sure you have good form. If you can't maintain good form, then you're just not ready for this. That's okay, because it's gonna be there for you when you are. Okay, we're gonna do 3 more, nice and slow. For 3, and 2. Good, last one. And 1. Crazy, challenging, especially when you keep that form solid. So guys, I hope you enjoyed all those variations. I've got one more tip for you. If you have wrist issues and you have access to hand weights, you could do this where you're more in kind of like a fist position for all of these exercises. So instead of the hand being planted, you'll make a fist, you're holding the weights, and the knuckles will point to the floor. So here's the demo of that. I've got the weights in my hands. They're a little bit wider than the shoulders. Shoulders are down. So now my wrist is long. There's less pressure in the wrist. You're gonna bend the elbows and press up. If you do not have weights, you could absolutely do knuckle push-ups. So if you've not heard of that, I will give that a little show. Essentially, you make a fist, you place the fist on the mat. We are really long through the wrist, which feels better, absolutely. Shoulders are down. Oop, there's the chair. We're gonna inhale down into the push-up, and then exhale, press up. Breathe in, breathe out. Last one. Nice, and then bring it in. Amazing. Woo! Okay, you guys, we made it through that progressive push-up tutorial. I hope that all of these ideas and exercises and form tips were super and will be super helpful for you. And truly, I know they will. Remember, give it time. Confidence, strength will build. Consistency is the name of the game. You have to do these a couple times a week to keep building this upper body strength, and it will happen. It might not happen tomorrow, but in a month, if you're doing this 3 times a week, whichever variation you picked, 3 sets, 10 reps, start there. 3 sets, 5 reps, start there and build. You've got this. My name is Lindsay. Thank you so much for being here today. If you enjoyed this tutorial and you would be interested in full-length workouts, check out my channel, Pilates On Demand. I do kind of a little bit of everything. I'm certified in a lot of different areas of exercise. So we've got Pilates, of course, but there is yoga, strength training, and it's all alignment based. So I like to verbally cue. I don't use music. You could totally play some on your end. So make sure to subscribe so you know when a new tutorial or workout is there. And I hope you have an awesome time working on these push-ups. Let me know how they're going in the comments, and I will see you later. Bye, guys.